Hi everyone, and welcome to Friday's General Hospital Recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. Hi Star, let's get going. So at General Hospital itself, Hayden and Finn are back to work. Amy sees them and then Brad comes up to them. He sees other potential applications for their serum that they made, and he wants his name on the patent when they go forward and compensation. Finn wants the serum to be available for all, but Hayden thinks having a patent on a new drug would be great for the hospital, and the hospital needs all the greatness they can get right now. Griffin interrupts. He acknowledges the new cure, that there's a buzz, and Finn asks him for a favor. He had an x-ray sent to him. His back's really bothering him, like an old sports injury, and his sports medicine doctor's out at some conference, and he needs something for pain management. So he doesn't ask, but Griffin offers a prescription for 10 pills, a strong dosage, and then he rewrites the prescription for 20 after Finn mentions how long his doctor's going to be away, and Brad kind of sees this happening and warns Finn about putting his career at risk by, doing all of this. Also at the hospital, Amy makes it a point to overhear what Hayden was texting and saying, because, we say out loud what we're texting, and Hayden says it's none of her business, and doesn't want to share anything with Amy, and shuts Amy down, to be quite honest with you. She mentions how there's no Amy mentions how there's no romance in her life, and she's the cheerleader for anyone who finds happiness for themselves, and Amy's, intent on being her friend, and, really wants to be Hayden's friend, and find out information, too, because, that's what friends do. Griffin talks with Hayden. He finds the exchange with Amy amusing, more amusing than Hayden found it, and then they talk about Finn for a second. Hayden sees Brad and Finn talking. Brad knows that Finn is trying to kick Zen and tells him, and Finn tells him he's wrong, and Brad says he's seen this behavior before and threatens to tell the hospital board, and Finn asks what he wants, because good old Brad's coming back. At Alexis' place, Alexis spills the wine out, and Dante sees her on the porch. He has questions. She drops the empty bottle and says that this isn't a good time, but he's intent on asking his questions, so they'll talk here. She's a little evasive, and she asks him more questions than he asks her, and he asks where she was the night of the 21st. She says she doesn't remember, and she may not practice law right now, but she knows how, and she's not stupid enough to represent herself, and they can wait until Diane gets there, because she's not going to be answering any questions, and tells him that they're done. And after a little more prodding from him, she's like, no, seriously, we're done, and he leaves. Diane arrives, and she has news, but she can tell Alexis isn't alright, and Alexis doesn't think she could go through with the hearing. Diane thinks she's being ridiculous, and then tells her the incredible news. The person who chaired the ethics committee, who was, really strict when it came to, rules, came down with the flu, and he was going to be the one, overseeing her case, and he was replaced by someone who looks at his extenuating circumstances and is a fan of Alexis. So she thinks what happened to Alexis was a travesty and all that, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and probably Alexis's best bet of getting reinstated, rebarred, whatever you call it, getting her license back, that she's ever going to get. Back at the PCPD, we weren't there yet, Elizabeth has faith that Franco has really changed, and the truth always comes out. Seth Baker comes in and asks loudly why Franco hasn't been arrested, and accuses Elizabeth of having Franco stashed somewhere, and that he's read up on Franco. He knows what kind of person he is, and Nathan tries to defuse the situation. Elizabeth approaches Seth outside of the PCPD and says that she wants to help, and Seth apologizes on behalf of his brother for what he did to her. And she wants to work together to figure this out. He's not having it, and he knows about the dog cage, and that makes her think. How does he know about that? That was confidential. Then Dante comes back, and he wants a search warrant for Alexis' house. At Seth's house, Elizabeth follows Seth all the way to his house to talk, and she says she wouldn't be defending Franco if he did this, and she just wants the truth. Something confuses her, though, what he said about the dog cage. That information was confidential. How does he know that? He says that Tom told him, and he talked to him after he escaped, and it was the last time he heard his brother's voice. He was panicky and afraid that Franco was still coming after him, and Elizabeth is like, did he mention putting Franco in the cage? This guy's super shady, because, he wouldn't have been afraid of him coming after him, because he knew he had locked him up. So she asked about Jeans or someone he was meeting, because she thinks someone else is responsible for Tom's death. At the floating rib, Sam finds a note from Franco and realizes it's a note Kiki had all along, and she calls Kiki. They need to meet right away. Jason's still not answering Sam's calls. Sam asks Kiki where she got the paper and asks for the address. Sam was trying to conceal why this paper was so important, but Kiki grabs it up, and Sam wants to go to the storage place alone, and she wants to talk to Franco alone, and I forgot her and Kiki were cousins until she pointed it out for a second, so in case you forgot, just thought I'd mention it. Not like forgot, like, oh, I didn't know, like, kind of, it's, the family trees, it's hard to keep, wrapping around your brain. Anyway, so Sam says she's not going to let anything happen to him, and they agree that in 15 minutes, Kiki will call the police, because that's enough time to get anywhere. I can't even get to Walmart in 15 minutes. Anyway, Kiki's phone dies before she can make any calls, though, and she has to rush off. At the storage facility, Franco's still very cold. He's, insulated himself with bubble wrap, and he's back on the trophies. He picks up a notebook, and he thinks he's running out of time, and he might just be right. He's drawing a picture of Elizabeth, talking to himself about how he's tried to be better and that he loves Elizabeth. Sam is at the storage place. She's trying to figure out which one he's in, and he manages to call out when she's calling to him. So she calls Jason again to bring her lockpicking kit, but he's not answering. And she grabs a fire extinguisher and tries to break the lock. She breaks it open and finds Franco, and now end scene. So Brad just wants to be assured that his name will be attached to the cure, and he also wants his share when the money starts rolling in. Amy tells Griffin that Hayden and Finn are a couple and tells him not to blab. And I'm like, okay, Amy. Hayden asks what's going on with Brad, and Finn says everything's cool. Diane wants to drive together to the hearing, and Alexis says she'll meet her at the hearing. She needs to do something first. And I'm like, what could you possibly need to do first? Kiki goes to the police station and tells them that Sam went after Franco. Franco thinks Sam is a vision, and she says she's real, and she's going to save him, and, she won't leave, and she asks who did this to him, and he doesn't know who did it. He points out the trophies, though, but she asks, does he think it could be Julian? Elizabeth asks Seth to consider for a second that he might be wrong. Doesn't he want the true killer punished? And the camera dramatically pans, and there's a bunch of basketball trophies. So I think that question is answered, everyone. I think we know who put Franco in there. Because it kind of makes sense continuity-wise. Locking up kind of thing. Yeah, I know, right? Full circle. But that is it for Friday's recap. I will see you Monday, tomorrow, for more Drama Hospital, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!